It's Thursday, and we have some fun planned for today. I'd like to welcome you back to my studio. I'm Renee Dowling from Reflections Art Studio and Community Classroom. And we have some comic stuff that we're going to do today. And just to tell you a little bit about me, I run Reflections Art Studio and Community Classroom. It's an art retreat in the country on the Wholesome Road. And my mission is to help people live a happy, healthy, creative life by teaching them art techniques to help them express themselves in a variety of ways. We started last week with these free online classes because people are isolating themselves. And I thought it would help break up the day by showing you some different techniques. We've done everything from collage, mixed media, using watercolor paint, pencil crayons, felt markers, all the way and also acrylic paint. And yesterday we left off the class by doing some basic shapes and picking a color to represent how you're feeling. And I finished mine. And I had mentioned that I didn't usually think of myself as a triangle person, but I have this great book right here called Signs of Life. And what it does is it tells you the meaning behind the signs. And I started to realize after I was researching, I actually am a triangle person. You can find triangles in all kinds of things in nature, trees, mountains, bird beaks, ears on animals. And they said if you start to notice triangles in nature, perhaps you are a triangle person. And so I just did a title here, Follow Your Path. Follow Your Path. Sorry, I got a tickle. And then wrote down some of the words that stood out to me that were relevant to me. And that's what my page looks like. And then this was what we did yesterday. We finished up, put some finishing details on our mixed media page. And I decided to do some journaling instead of a great big title. And what I've noticed is each page I have a path. And so that's sort of which is paths connect people. And so most of my pages now are going to have a path on them, and then I will develop that theme about connections and paths. And so today is another way of connecting with people, and we are going to do some comics. And so the shot that was on is showing you a day in the life of me in just a regular old Saturday. So I thought I would show you some different cartoonist styles, and then you can decide for yourself what kind of style you want to follow. One of my when I was a kid, I struggled with reading a bit, and so my go-to at the library was to always sign out the Peanuts comic books. And I thought what I would do is I would show you some of the styles, and you might consider that. So you can be really more simplistic and not have any color and just do black and white. And if you're a color kind of person, you might decide just to do a background like they did on this Peanuts cartoon. There's not a lot of details, and there's just some very simple things to do. Or there's not a lot of details. And in this comic strip, there is hardly any writing. So what you're going to be doing today is documenting your day, and you might choose to do a little bit of details, lots of details, a lot of writing, hardly any writing. So again, here's another example where there's some different boxes, and then they just did a little bit of smatter of green to emphasize the cartoons. And here's another one, just sticking with just primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. And that might be what you do just to keep things simple. This is telling a story, but today you're not really telling a story. You're just kind of showing different things that you do throughout the day. So here's another style that I really like. This is Linda Berry. And some people get intimidated with cartooning because they think that you have to be a really good drawer. And Linda Berry, she is not about doing realistic drawings. And so I thought I'd show you some of her work. So you can see from her faces, they're out of proportion. They don't have, again, a lot of details. And she uses her handwriting instead of block letters to write. And then she also has some different borders that she likes to, and she uses pencil crayon and all kinds of things. So how you do yours is totally up to you, but I just thought I would show you some different styles. She has lots of text, so she's more of telling a story through her text as opposed to really detailed pictures. And here's another page where she combines writing and printing together. And again, look at her people, they're not, and she's also just repeating her same colors. So she uses the same yellows from one box to the next, and she keeps repeating the colors. For those of you who are into mixed media, she does things like this too, where she, does rick-rack and what's that called? That fabric paint and all kinds of stuff. So you can get more complicated. I would suggest today, if it's your first time, not to get too complicated. I thought I'd also show you a couple pages from manga. I picked up this book at the Mesnak College. There's a bin where you can just pick up books for free. And the thing that I like about these comics is, like, if you take a look at this girl right here, it's very simplistic. You don't need a lot of details again, just black and white. So you might decide that you don't want to use color today. You just want to use black and white, and that is totally fine. Whatever you want to do. If you're more into the drawing, you can do things like cross-hatching. Sorry for wobbling around. Cross-hatching and And I love the faces on these characters because they're so exaggerated to show emotions. So that might be something you would show also instead of just what you did today, how you feel. And I'll just show you a couple more pages. So here's an example of, this person, cartoonist is showing like basic everyday kind of things, riding bikes. There's lots of details in these illustrations. That might not be your cup of tea, but it's okay to be just simple and do like more like the Peanuts kind of stuff. I wanted to also show you a book that it's called The Secret Path by Gord Downie. He wrote the lyrics to the songs that are that illustrate these pictures, and Jeff Lemire has done the illustrations. And I really love this. This book is really haunting. They've just gone with basically grays and blues, and this is to show the past and the memories that aren't so positive about being at a residential school. But then in the middle of it, they change, or he changes to show that things are more happy, and he uses color. So you can switch it up. You can just stay monochromatic if you want, or just use a few basic colors. I recommend that and if you notice, there aren't any words at all in the boxes. It's just totally relying on the pictures. And then, of course, this Gord Downie's music. If you listen to his album while you're looking at it, then that adds another dimension to it. But Yes, very powerful. And then, of course, I've sort of been reading these lately, Wonder Woman. And I just wanted to show you, if you are somebody who really likes to be graphic and do lots of details, well, this is a possibility too. It's really feminine looking, lots of colors, different sized boxes, lots of details that way, lots of color. So it's up to you but you notice that you keep repeating the colors, even though there's lots of colors, they still all relate to each other to tell a story. So we're not going to do something as complicated, but we're going to give it a good attempt. So today it'll be just a day in the life of whatever you're doing, just kind of basic, ordinary things. But I think it's kind of fun to tell a story, and I'll zoom down into mine so that you can see the details or lack of details, and then we'll get started. Changed the angle of my camera today, so I'm just trying to figure out if that is good or not. Okay, I just have to change one more thing. Okay. So this is a Saturday that I did this in April of 2016, and it's just an ordinary day. And so when I did this, I reserved a box for my title. And I was trying to keep, what I did is I did 15 boxes on this side and 15 on the other side. And I found that a little bit ambitious. So what you might decide to do is just do 2 columns of maybe 8 on each side, or even just do 8 boxes just to kind of keep it simple. There we go. Okay, so I started off by saying this is my Saturday, and I didn't use any pencil at all. And the idea of this is to just have fun and just to detail some things. So I'll just go over it with you. So on this one, I was participating in an online class called Sketchbook School. And it started I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was thinking, gee, I should get up and do the Sketchbook School assignment. And then, of course, I had to get up to go to the washroom. So instead of drawing the washroom and the gory details, I just put flush. And then I just drew myself on the pillow. So you notice there's different angles. So this first one was sort of at a diagonal angle and not very good in perspective, but it shows that my husband's snoring, and then I'm thinking. And then here it's Saturday. Then here it's showing from looking down, like from the bird's eye view. And it's Saturday, keep on sleeping, I was thinking to myself. And then I had this little critter on my shoulder saying, get up, you have art to do. So then I hopped in the shower, and instead of course showing me in the shower, I showed that there's my new shower head. And then I put, I love my new bathroom, because this is when we just finished our renovations. And then the Purple Rain was playing on the radio, so then I put that in a text box. And then next it was 8 o'clock, and I decided to have some toast. So I drew my toaster, and I show that there's music playing from the radio, and there's a little plate that I put a few details, and then a knife. And then I went outside, and I filled my bird feeders, and drew a little tiny bird there. So it's just a few little details with, some dots here and there, and some attempt at shadowing, but nothing too crazy. Then I just showed that I was working on my sketchbook school homework, and that was working on this page. And then I posted my work on the computer, and there's my camera, and there's my computer. Then I had lunch, and I had cheese toast, so I showed it on the pan. And then I had some Angel Falls Mist tea, which is my favorite, and I drew my little teacup and teapot. Then I visited my horse, and again, look, I wasn't going for realism. I was going for just for me to remember. And then I went this is my flower bed, so I was maybe starting to pull some plants out. And then I was walking my dog, and she tripped me, so I put, oof, stupid dog, tripped me again, and there I am flat out. And then I was showing that I was working some more in my sketchbook. And then back to the top. This is showing that I was checking my phone, and it was 4:15 on Saturday. And I tried to do my little profile picture. Then we went to the Garage Pub and Eatery, so I drew my food. And then, I played a game on my phone, a word game. Had some popcorn. We went to the Monarch Theater. We saw the movie I Saw the Light. Then I read a book when I got home called The 3-Day Road, and there's my glasses. I asked Brian, did you find this book a bit confusing? And he said, Mom, you have to really pay attention. And then I fell asleep. Then I said, I guess falling asleep and reading isn't helping. Then I fell asleep. There's me putting my book away, turning off the light, and then sleeping again. So this was basically telling the ordinary things of life, but I think it's effective. It was kind of fun to say, hey, I forgot I played that game, or I forgot I saw that movie, or hey, this is pretty much what I do every day already, or still. And also, if you noticed, I used a limited palette. So I used greens and blues, reds, pretty much it, and a little bit of yellow to show blonde. But so just kind of real simple. And I'm just going to clip my corners because from the paint from previous pages, they're bouncing up. Sorry about the blurriness. The internet is in high demand and it's not streaming very well, as usual. Okay, so I decided I'm going to use a Faber-Castell Pitt pen to start with. You can use anything, but if you're going to use watercolor paint, you might make sure that your pen is waterproof. And I also might use my dip pen when I draw my pictures. So first I'll have to decide how many boxes I'm going to do. Now this book is narrower than my other book, so I am not going to do as many boxes. And because let's see. Okay, so I'm going to make sure, now you can decide, are you going to do squares, rectangles? Are you going to change it up all the time or try to be consistent and have the same shape and size? So I'm going to start, and don't worry if it's not perfect. I am just going to do if you want to use a ruler, go for it. But I'm not a measuring kind of girl unless it's about cutting wood and stuff like that. So you might just decide to do 6 boxes. I think I'm going to challenge myself and do 12. And I am going to try and stay with the same shape. Maybe be a little bit more adventurous tomorrow. It's kind of fun having wonky lines too, because then it kind of puts a little bit of personality into it. You could use stencils too to trace. Okay, so I'm going to save my first box. For my title, and I might just put a day in the life of me, or yeah. And you don't have to be fancy, you can just do your regular writing, but I am going to try to do some block letters. I'm just going to change the angle of my tripod. I don't like how I changed it. Sorry, make you sick. Okay. Now, some people have troubles with bubble letters writing. And then inside, just repeat again your regular writing, and then you have a bubble letter. And I'm going to overlap, so just start behind. Y's have never been letters that I can do very well. I don't know why. A day. And then I might change it up by doing some writing. In my, and then life, I'm going to do big. Lowercase e, just to change it up. There. A day in my life. And then I'm going to put today's date, April 2nd, 2006, and I'll put my name somewhere else. So I'm going to show myself in bed. The alarm, well, and it looks like my alarm clock, because if I was in my house, I would be looking at it and your photos on your phone as a reference so that you can draw a few more details. I didn't do that this morning, so I'm just going to draw maybe a side angle just like before on my previous one. And I'm going to show I drew a line across, that was strange. When you're drawing, you don't have to worry about details so much. I'm going to draw real simple. There's my husband with his sleep apnea machine on. I call it Snuffy. And there's a pillow. And there's me tossing and turning. Maybe my hair's all crazy. And then beside us is a dresser. Now, if time, you could just set a timer and say, oh, I'm going to take 2 minutes for this picture, and then I am going to go on to the next thing that I have to do today, and then you keep coming back throughout the day and revisit your page. But because this started earlier, I forgot to leave a spot for my speech, my thoughts. So I might go like this and say, it's 2 a.m. And I was thinking about drawing today and what I was going to do for my lesson. And of course, in the background, I could hear a meow. So annoying. Can draw a few more details in. But you don't have to. You can just keep it really simple. So it's 2 a.m. And then you can decide to like go totally across or go down, and then once you get to the very bottom, you work your way back up. So it's 2 a.m. and then I kept waking up after every hour. So maybe what I can do, so I don't have to keep drawing this over again, is I didn't really plan this out, but usually the thing at the top goes first, and then as you go down, then that shows you the order. It's 2 a.m. I'll just draw across here. It's 3 a.m. You get the message, right? Yeah, it keeps happening over and over again. So then I got up and went to the washroom. So do I want to include that as a detail? Maybe, maybe not. Do I want to include the shower? I think I won't, because I already did that in my previous comic. So, but I did eat my usual toast. So I'll draw my toaster. So this was sort of like at an angle from the bird's eye view. So this one is going to be from, and you don't have to have a place for your words. And again, I don't have my toaster here, so I'm just going to do the best I can. I have sort of mixed perspective, side and top together, but the toaster is angled, so that. And plate with some leaves, and there's a flower. There's my little vitamin, and there is my knife and my jar of jam. I think it was wild berry, and it's sitting on the counter. And if I want to, you can just have little pieces of yourself in it. Or you just show that that's what you did today. I had toast. And you put the bread in the toaster. Maybe put cupboards here. Okay. Let's see next. What did I do? I got dressed. I came into my studio and got things ready for my broadcast. So, okay, I'll draw my lap. So I think I'm not going to draw myself on this one, but I am going to put that I was thinking, is the internet going to work? Notice I'm putting the cloud around the words after I've written, because if you do it before, then you got to make sure that it squishes in. All right, so then after I did that, then I made myself some tea. So I'm going to draw my coffee cup. And perspective is kind of wonky, but again, are we looking for fine details or just memories to put down? So I'm not going to sweat it. I found these cute little cups at an antique store, and they match perfectly with my colors in my studio. I was at first going to use my dip pen. Some tea, then I'll show the tea bag in it. And the string coming over, then around, and then I'm writing upside down, so I guess it's over here, but that's okay. And then I'll draw the little package. And then again, I think I should switch to a different marker because that one is too big. And I'll just pretend it's torn. There. And I'm just going to write decaf. And then I'm going to put the horizon line back here. And maybe I'll draw my pen beside it to show that I was in the studio. There. Or crayons or whatever you want to do. That's up to you. And it made me think of sort of like a public service announcement. They said, your grandfather may have gone abroad to support Canada during World War II. Your grandmother might have fought for women's rights. And now you can contribute by that I am staying home. Or in this case, I'm at my studio. So I'm going to draw my studio. Kind of finding this paper bumpy for me to draw straight lines. Then I might show some details like my trees. Today I noticed all the blackbirds are back. There's like hundreds of them singing in the trees. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just draw myself sitting here in the window. There. And so this one up here at the top, I might have to yeah, that's what I'm saying, that the video is stuck. I might have to do this video again. I might have to. Ooh, I actually have some clarity now. Anyways, so it sort of got me thinking that I am going to put down something about, even though I wasn't direct, well, do I want to draw Trudeau? No, I don't. I'm going to draw, I think I'll draw one more, well, actually, I have some gray markers, and what I like to do is line each box, and it sort of makes it come alive, that you can pick up each little box. It's so blurry. black and white, or if I want to start adding some other shadows. So maybe I'm going to add some shadow at the bottom of my plate here, and my jam, and my knife. Maybe I'm going to add some shadows in the crevices of my cupboard. On here, maybe I'm going to show some shadows underneath my dresser, drawers. Mind you, it's dark. To the cup. Wherever the lines meet, there'd be a little bit of a shadow. Here. A felt marker like this, you can just use your paint, just use a little bit of blue, and you'll get the same. This was supposed to be a path. It doesn't really look like it, but if I add color, that will do that. I'm going to also add some shadowing. There. And I'm just going to take a few minutes to add some color. I'm just going to use a real fine tip pencil or watercolor brush. And since my travel kit instead of mixing it. And I'm going to try to just stick to primary colors. Blue, but actually a little bit of red, but I'll just use black. Just kind of dull it up a little bit. And my, oops. Isn't really going for accuracy here. My jam jar is green. Countertop. It's a neutral color. See, I'm trying to mix brown.